Our next speaker has definitely exhibited Trinada P, because he must be as tolerant as a tree, because he has actually lived with me for about 3 years. So you have to be tolerant to do that. He, some of his beautiful qualities are that he is somebody who regularly goes out on Sankirtan, you know, the core instruction of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to do Sankirtan in the streets. He's always doing that. He's distributing books consistently. And one of the things I really love observing is his desire, his deep desire for harmony throughout our Sangha. A very deep desire is in his heart in that respect. And also his very intense honesty and introspection in personal dealings. It's very beautiful to watch that and be part of that. So I'm excited to hear the offering of our beloved God brother, Sriman Balabhadra Prabhu. Haribol Prabhu, welcome.
And the words to everybody, Hare Krishna. Mancha Krapa Drupascha Kripa Sindhuve Epacha Patitanam Bhavnabhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha. Jnana Timirandascha Janandana Sarakaya Takso Mitam Nina Tasmai Shri Gurudeva Namaha. Nama Om Vishnuvidaya Adhikaya Priyatmane Sriman Bhaktivedanta Narayana Namane. Nama Om Vishnuvidaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. First, I'm begging for the causeless mercy of our beloved Srila Gurudeva, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj. I'm similarly asking for the causeless mercy of our divine beloved Master Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, without whose mercy none of us would be here. I'm begging for the mercy of all the Prabhupada disciples also, without whose profuse Sankirtan, whose I'm not even any close to matching, save the planet. So I'm going to read from Chaitanya Bhagavat first, and then I'm going to quote some teachings from Srila Gurudeva and Srila Prabhupada about book distribution. So this is from Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, chapter 23. And this is how the Supreme Lord, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and his disciples reacted when the government tried to impose restrictions on the congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Very much like the situation we're in right now. Lord Vishwambara stood before the Kazi's palace doors, his rising anger visible. With a voice like thunder, he said, "Where is that mischief monger Kazi? Right this minute, bring him to me and cut off his head. I will obliterate the entire Yavana race from the face of the earth, as I have done previously. Break open and smash everything. Break it, break it." These were the orders of the Supreme Lord. Who could disobey? The congregation was already exuberant and inebriated by the association of Lord Chaitanya and the holy name. So such a command from the Lord was immediately put into action with great enthusiasm. The congregation ransacked the entire property. They went through the house and indiscriminately broke anything that came in their way. The garden lay limp and ravished as if after a hurricane. Banana trees lay uprooted, broken branches hung from the mango trees. The flower garden was stamped to the ground. Lakhs and lakhs of people overrun the palace rooms and grounds. Throughout the entire operation, the congregation was chanting, "Hari, Hari." The holy name was their constant companion. They punctuated every move with Lord Hari's name. Lord Vishwambara then said, "Now burn down everything. Put fire to the house. Let the Kazi and all his men burn to death. I want to see what this king will do with me. I also want to see who has the audacity to check me. The god of time and death are all my devoted servitors. They are created by my glance over mature nature. To propagate the congregational chanting of the holy name is the main purpose of my event. If anyone so much as tries to cause an obstruction, then I will annihilate them." However, even if the lowest of sinners participates in the chanting of the Lord's name, then he should be remembered by me and saved. On the other hand, Even if persons are performing austerity, renunciation, Vedic studies, and yoga, but do not join the Sankirtan movement, then they will certainly perish. So now, do not fear. Put fire to the house. I will bring about the total devastation of the entire race of Yavanas. When they saw the Lord's wrath, the devotees fell on their knees and raising their arms prayed to him. One of your principal expansions is Lord Sankarshan. His anger is never manifest untimely. When the time is ready for the destruction of the material world, then Rudra appears as the expansion and incarnation of Lord Sankarshan. After Rudra completes the work of annihilation, he then returns into your transcendental body. The work of annihilation is carried out by the expansion of your expansion. So if you are angry, who can check your wrath? The Vedas glorify you as without anger and eternally blissful. Our hearts cannot see you minimize the Vedic injunction. Even Lord Brahma never attracts your ire. Creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the material world are simply your transcendental pastimes. Today, you have sufficiently chastised the Kazi, and if next time he does anything against you, then you can destroy him. All glory to Lord Vishwambara, the Supreme Lord of all Lords. All glory to Lord Gaurasana, the Lord of the universe, and the Lord of Lakshmi Devi, who rests upon an Antashesh. Lord Chaitanya smiled after listening to their choice prayers, and then saying, Hari, 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 he began to dance and chant with everyone. The Kazi had been justly dealt with by the Lord and was pacified, knowing that the public congregational chanting would continue. He now led the procession back towards the tower. With the previous jubilance and exuberance, the chanting and dancing began again. Joy once more filled the atmosphere. The devotees were now free from any fear or inhibition. They could chant their beloved Lord Krishna's name anytime, any place. Book distribution. This is from the Soul of Book Distribution that was published by Srimati Shamarani Didi. And this is from Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu, verse 4, Shri Bindu Vikashini Priti. Vaishnav Shastra Seva is described as one of the 64 limbs of Bhakti. It is number 54. One should faithfully and regularly study such scriptures, hear from them from the mouths of pure devotees, and read from them and recite them with a worshipful attitude. One should know the object to be obtained by such scriptures, that is Bhagavad Bhakti, and having full faith in that, one should mold one's life in accordance with its principles. The restoration of, careful keeping of, publication and propagation of Vaishnava Shastras are all included within Shastra Seva. Here are some quotes by Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj. The books that were produced by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, as well as the books I am now producing, should be printed in very large numbers, and now it is taking place. We are presently spending about $200,000 to print books, and now there is a question of distributing them. I do not want the books to remain in cold storage. I want you all to help me in the distribution of books, and so you may also keep some profit for your going here and there. Los Angeles, California, May the 11th, 2003. Also, try to give out the books which are published by us. In Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj times, so many young girls and boys used to do this. This is why very quickly Krishna consciousness spread all over the world. And I want this to happen again. Nowadays, the leaders are not doing Nagasankirtan, Harinam. I want all my disciples to do it. Even if there are 2, 3, or 4 persons, there is no harm in that. You can go out with mridanga and kartals. And if there is no mridanga, no harm, you can go out with kartals and just chant Hari Bol, Hari Krishna, Hari Krishna. Regarding my books, each devotee should take at least 10 sets and distribute them. I have told this so many times. Do this to serve and please Gurudeva and Krishna, and go on doing it. Thank you. Moai Hawaii, 25th, 2000. By the order and mercy of his Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj travelled everywhere in this world. He went to Western and Eastern countries, and he preached the mission of our Guru Parampara in the line of Rupa Goswami, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. It is very wonderful how in a couple of years he preached all over the world, in forests, on islands, and in the midst of oceans, and on the top of hills, and everywhere else. How was it possible? It is possible because he translated so many authorized books like Chaitanya Charitamrita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and Bhagavad Gita as it is. and he ordered his disciples to distribute them in public places like churches, airports, supermarkets, and railway stations. At that time, beautiful teenage girls preached everywhere with no shyness, dancing here and there. They distributed books. They went everywhere chanting, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi, Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, and Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. By this kirtan and by writing and distributing books, almost the entire world came to know about him. And this mission was preached everywhere in a couple of years. He is my Siksha Guru. So I also want this. I want to do as he did. In addition, my Diksha Gurudev, Srila Bhakti-Pradhan Gosvami Maharaja, told me to translate books in their original language, and I am doing so. Up to now, about 50 books have been published, and they are both supplementary and complementary to the books of Srila Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Maharaj. In my supplement to his Bhagavad Gita as it is, I have given additional commentaries of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Now I want to publish Shri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, a supplement to what he gave in brief in the form of Nectar of Devotion. And there I will give the commentaries of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Srila Jiva Goswami Pad. Besides this, Shri Ujjwala Nilamani is coming to you very soon. Shri Bhajaramahasa, Shri Brahma Samhita, Shri Brihad Bhagavatamrita, and so many other books all standing in a row calling out, you should publish me first. You should publish me first. My devotees are helping me in this endeavor. Srila Swami Maharaj just sent me very learned scholars, even scholars in Sanskrit, Bengali, and Hindi, and they're all helping me. He has also sent me many experts in computers. I desire to follow him, and I pray that he may inspire me so that I will accomplish all these tasks. I want that in cyclic order, thousands and thousands of books should come from the press, and they should at once be distributed and again printed. And here are some words from Srila Prabhupada. Actually, it is a fact that ultimately everyone should preach and distribute books if they want to please me in the best way. Book distribution must be given stress, always. He has spoken the right thing. This is a letter. If you do this sincerely, it is a fact that Krishna will supply everything else required. I blindly follow my Guru Maharaj. I don't know what is the result. So I am stressing on this point of book distribution. He told me this personally. Book distribution is a Bhagavat Maharaj and temple worship is a Pantariki Vaidi. Both are important for cultivating Vaishnavism, but comparatively speaking, Bhagavat Maharaj is more important than Pantarika Vidi. As far as possible, both should go on in parallel lines, but still Bhagavat Maharaj is more important than the other. So you're all intelligent boys, so you should judge the desire for my Guru Maharaj and help me in that way. A letter to Shri Govinda, Bombay, 6th of December 1974. I very much like to receive the report of my book sales. I think it also gives encouragement to the devotees who distribute books. Here in Mayapur, my Guru Maharaj was printing one paper. I was selling for only a few paisa. Sometimes, whenever one brahmachari would go to Navadvip and sell even a few copies, I would see my Guru Maharaj become very much pleased. Even if the brahmachari was not an important member, my Guru Maharaj would become very, very pleased with him. He personally instructed me that books are more important than big temples. At Radhakund, he told me that since constructing the big marble temple at Bhagavad, there have been so many difficulties. Our men are envious of who will live in which room. I think it would be better to take off all the marbles and sell them to print books. He told me this personally. So I am always emphasizing book distribution. It is the better kirtan. It is better than chanting. Of course, chanting should not stop, but book distribution is the best kirtan. Mayapur, 24th of October, 1974. There's 3 more. This, our book distribution, is the most important task in our society. Therefore, I am giving so much stress and I am working so hard on this because this is my life and soul, according to the order of my Guru Maharaj, and it is by his grace that is to some extent successful. And I took it seriously. I take it seriously still now. This is my life and soul. I never tried in India to construct big temples, or even in your country I didn't. I never tried, but I was selling personally books. That is the history. Sometimes they are criticizing. What kind of sannyasi? He is doing book business. He laughs. December the 31st, 1976, Bombay. Go on spreading the Sankirtan movement more and more. I am only one person, But because all of you have kindly cooperated with me, this movement has now become a success all over the world. Be assured that there is no more direct way to preach than to distribute Krishna conscious books. Whoever gets a book is benefited. If he reads the book, he is benefited more. Or if he gives the book to somebody else for reading, both he and the other person is benefited. Even if one does not read the book, but simply holds it and sees it, he is benefited. If he simply gives a small donation towards the work of Krishna consciousness, he is benefited. And anyone who distributes these transcendental literatures, he is also benefited. 2 more. One should engage in practical service to the Lord. In our Krishna conscious movement, all our activities are concentrated upon distributing Krishna literature. This is very important. One may approach any person and induce him to read Krishna literature so that in the future he also may become a devotee. Such activities are recommended in this verse, Srimad Bhagavatam 10:237. Such activities will always remind the devotees of the Lord's lotus feet. By fully concentrating on and distributing books for Krishna, one is fully absorbed in Krishna. This is samadhi. And this is the final one. How can nature be controlled? Mam eva ye prapadanti mayam etam taranti te. Bhagavad Gita 7:14. This is the law of nature. If you become disobedient to God, then Prakriti, or nature, will give you trouble in so many ways. And as soon as you become submissive and surrender to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there will be no more natural disturbances. I have heard in 1900 and 1898, I was born in 1896, so I have heard, I have seen also, I remember in Calcutta, there was a very virulent type of plague epidemic in 1898, so Calcutta became devastated. All people practically left Calcutta. Daily, hundreds and hundreds of people were dying. Hundreds and hundreds. I was a 1-year-old or 1.5-year-old. I have seen what was happening. There was a plague epidemic. That I did not know. But later on, I heard from my parents. So one Babaji, he organized Sankirtan, Hare Krishna Sankirtan. Where there was no other way, he organized Sankirtan all over Calcutta. And in the Sankirtan, all people, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Parsi, everyone joined. And they were coming. They were going to row, street to street, entering every house. So that Mahatma Gandhi Road 151, you have seen. The Sankirtan party received there very nicely. There was light, and I was very small. I was also dancing, 1.5-year-old Prabhupada dancing. I can remember, just like our small children sometimes dances, I remember. I could only see up to the knees of the persons who were joined. So the plague subsided. This is a fact. Everyone who knows history of Calcutta, the plague was subsided by Sankirtan movement. Lecture on the Srimad Bhagavatam, 110.5, Mayapur, June 20th, 1973. Vanchakapatrupischa, Kripa Sindhu Evacha, Patitanam Bhavanibhyo, Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Gurudeva, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Bala, that was absolutely beautiful. I feel the fire of devotion from across London. That was really a tremendous clarion call for us to follow. Thank you so much. That really stirred me. There's a beautiful Leela of Gurudev's whereby I think it was quite late on in his travels, and it was maybe 2 a.m. Madhav Maharaj woke up and realized something wasn't quite right, and he saw Gurudev translating his books at about 2 a.m, at about 1, when he should have been sleeping, basically. Madhav Maharaj took away his torch because he obviously was trying to regulate Gurudev's health. And but this was the devotion of Srila Gurudev. If he couldn't serve, there was no point in him even being on the planet. And if he couldn't write, he couldn't do his mission. There's a beautiful quote actually that our next speaker sent me the other day from Srila Gurudev. This is from Mathura in 1994. Srila Gurudev said, "A day will come when I will not be in this world, and that many will think that all these books are so valuable. And that's really happening now. Personally, every day, as I relish Gurudev's books, they're getting more and more valuable in my heart. And I know that it's very amazing. While Gurudev was on the planet, obviously we all know that there were some issues with the ISKCON as an institution. But certainly after he disappeared, each year, more and more people are receiving his books and are absorbing themselves in his books, both within Sanghas and new devotees. And Gurudev's incredible, monumental Rasa Tattva is reaching more and more people, going into our ears and imbuing our hearts with something very, very special, totally priceless. So, Balabhadra Prabhu, thank you so much. That was a very rousing, that really roused me. Thank you.